I never imagined I'd be telling a story like this, but sometimes life pushes you into situations that force you to become someone you never planned on being. And if you had told me a year ago that the person who would hurt me the most wasn't an ex, wasn't a friend, wasn't a family member, but the girl I shared a home with, the girl I thought was my closest companion, I would have laughed. But here I am. And the truth is, I didn't just survive what she did to me, I made sure she would never forget the consequences of trying to destroy my life. Before I even begin, tell me, would you have gone as far as I did if someone tried to ruin your future? Would you have stayed quiet, or would you have fought back? I guess the best place to start is the moment everything shattered. Because it didn't break slowly, it didn't crack over time. It snapped in one single moment, like a bone you didn't even know was fragile. That moment was the night before the biggest presentation of my academic career, a project I had been working on for weeks, something that would determine almost half my grade. I remember sitting down at my desk, exhausted but proud, ready to finally rehearse it out loud. I opened my laptop and watched as the folder spun for a moment before opening, but nothing was inside. My presentation, gone. My notes, gone. Every document, every file, every backup, gone. Not deleted, erased, like they never existed. And when I turned around to breathe and process, my roommate Mira was standing in the doorway with the faintest smirk on her lips. That smirk still burns in my memory. It wasn't playful, it wasn't curious, it was victorious, like she had won something. And when she said, "rough night," in the most sarcastic tone imaginable, that's when something in my gut twisted. That's when I knew this wasn't an accident. This was intentional. And the girl I lived with, the girl I trusted, had done something unforgivable. But what I didn't know then, what I would soon find out, was that deleting my project was just the beginning. Back when we first became roommates, I genuinely believed Mira and I were a perfect match. We got along instantly, same humor, same major, same love for bad reality TV and late-night ramen. She was fun, outgoing, easy to talk to. We shared clothes, swapped stories, studied together. She told me everything, or so I thought. If someone had filmed our first few months living together, you would have thought we were sisters. That's how close we were. But that closeness wasn't real, at least not for her. Slowly, tiny cracks started forming. I didn't see them at first. I was too trusting, too comfortable, too naive. The first signs were small things: food disappearing from the fridge, clothes missing from my laundry, my makeup used but not mentioned. Annoying, sure, but normal roommate stuff, right? And whenever I brought it up, she'd pout dramatically, hug me, and tell me she must have gotten confused because our stuff is basically shared anyway. I brushed it off again and again, telling myself I wasn't a petty person. But those cracks, they weren't cracks. They were warnings. And then came the shift, the slow, creeping shift. She started asking me strange questions about my classes, about my professors, about upcoming assignments. I didn't think much of it. We had similar schedules. But she always reacted too intensely when I mentioned getting good feedback or praise. She'd force a smile that didn't reach her eyes, a quick, "that's awesome," followed by a moment of resentment flickering across her face. Looking back, I realized those were the early signs of jealousy, of insecurity, of something ugly growing inside her. But I kept letting things slide because, well, she was my roommate. I lived with her. The idea that she might actually have bad intentions, it felt impossible. Until everything started spiraling. One day, I overheard two classmates whispering about the girl who cheats on assignments. I didn't think it was about me until one of them said my name. My heart nearly stopped. I confronted them, and that's when they told me. Mira had been telling people I plagiarized my last paper. She told them she caught me cheating, that she was thinking about reporting me, but didn't want to ruin my career unless the professor asked. I was stunned. And when I confronted her, she had the perfect story ready. Fake tears, fake guilt, fake innocence. "I never said that," she insisted. "They must have misunderstood." And because I always wanted to believe the best in her, I let it go. Again. But then the missing files on my laptop, the rumors, the whispers, the project she erased, the smirk. And the next morning, when my classmate messaged me asking if I really tried to fake a last-minute excuse because Mira told them I accidentally deleted my own project, that was the moment I snapped. I realized she wasn't just sabotaging me, she was trying to replace me. She wanted my grades, my reputation, my opportunities, everything I worked for. She wanted me gone. That was when the fire inside me lit. Not a loud fire, not an explosive one, a quiet one, cold, focused, dangerous, the kind of fire that doesn't burn out. It burns through. I didn't scream, I didn't fight, I didn't accuse her. Instead, I smiled at her like nothing happened. I acted normal, friendly, calm. Because if she wanted a war, I wasn't going to fight it with emotion. I was going to fight it with evidence. I started documenting everything, every message she sent, every login on my computer, every rumor she spread. I put a small camera behind my books on the shelf. I installed activity trackers on my laptop. I saved every screenshot, every voice memo, every lie she told. She thought she was smarter than me. She thought I was oblivious. But she forgot something important. I wasn't stupid. I was patient. And patience is the most dangerous weapon of all. Weeks passed. Mira continued her games, not knowing I was watching. She accessed my laptop again, caught on camera. She talked trash about me to one of our group mates, recorded. She told someone she was going to make sure I failed the semester, screenshot. She bragged in a private chat about how she manipulated people easily, saved. File after file, proof after proof, my folder grew. And I waited. I waited until the perfect opportunity presented itself. Middle of the semester, the university announced a student conduct review day, a day where you could privately submit any academic integrity concerns or evidence of misconduct. Students rarely used it, but I did. 2 days before the review, I compiled everything into a clean timeline, dated, labeled, undeniable. The panel wasn't expecting much that day. They definitely weren't expecting what I handed in. They told me they would review everything and call in anyone involved. I thanked them politely, walked out of the office, and felt the first real wave of relief I had felt in months. Now, before I tell you what happened next, I need to ask you something. Imagine living with someone who pretends to love you like a sister while secretly tearing your entire life apart. Imagine trusting someone completely, only to realize they've been poisoning your reputation behind your back. If you were in my situation, if someone was deliberately destroying your future, would you expose them, or would you stay silent to avoid drama? Because when I made my next move, I knew there was no going back. 2 days later, Mira got summoned to the academic office. I didn't go with her, of course. I just waited in the living room, sitting on the couch with a cup of tea, the way she always sat after causing chaos. When she walked in, she was white as a sheet. Not pale, white, like her blood had vanished. She looked at me with wide eyes, full of panic, and asked, "Did you do something?" And the funniest part, I didn't have to lie. I simply looked at her and said, "Why would I?" Her face cracked. She paced back and forth, pulling at her hair, mumbling that people were lying and the school misunderstood, and this could ruin everything. She thought she was untouchable. She thought no one would ever believe me over her. But truth has a way of cutting deeper than any revenge. An hour later, the university emailed both of us. They had launched a full investigation. Mira wasn't suspended yet, but she was under review. Word spread quickly. People who used to gossip with her avoided her now. Friends who helped her spread rumors suddenly backed away. She tried to control the narrative, but the evidence was too strong. Professors stopped trusting her. Classmates whispered about her, the same way she once whispered about me. Karma didn't just come. It arrived with receipts.
But the destruction didn't stop there. Her campus job, which required integrity and responsibility, put her on leave. Her group project members kicked her out after one of them recognized her voice in a recording I submitted. She tried to apologize to them, tried to spin the story, but no one bought it. her fake sweetness, her manipulative charm, none of it worked anymore. She was exposed, and the funny thing, I never raised my voice. I didn't insult her. I didn't post anything online. I didn't gossip. I simply handed over the truth. She confronted me one last time, her voice breaking, tears streaming down her face, accusing me of ruining her life. And I said the only sentence she truly deserved: "You ruined your life the moment you tried to ruin mine." She stared at me like she didn't recognize who I was. Maybe she didn't. Maybe I didn't either. But I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't her victim anymore. She packed her things the next morning, didn't say goodbye, didn't look back. The girl who once walked around our apartment like she owned it left silently, defeated, exposed. After she moved out, everything felt lighter. The air, the space, my mind. I finally focused on my studies without fear. My professors supported me. My classmates apologized. I rebuilt my reputation. And for the first time in months, I felt safe in my own home. Sometimes revenge doesn't require shouting or fighting or chaos. Sometimes the quietest moves are the deadliest. Sometimes the best thing you can do is stand still and let the truth scream for you. If you were on my side through all of this, like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear that they are not powerless. Subscribe for more stories like this, stories of betrayal, justice, and the kind of revenge that hits exactly where it hurts. And tell me in the comments, if someone tried to destroy your life, how far would you go to take yours back? I'll see you all in the next story.